Hey y'all, so your girl is coming to y'all live today with nature. I'm just giving y'all a little glimpse of my life and what I do on an everyday basis so y'all can kind of get to know me as you go, or as we go together on this journey with Black as She podcast. So, here you see, this is what I like to come and do. And I just like to be at one with nature, just get some thoughts together, clear my head of anything that I'm going on. Look at them. Where is it? There we go. Oh, I love it. I love God's creations, every bit of it. Every animal, every species, except for snakes and spiders. I don't play with that. So, but yeah. So now y'all get a glimpse of me. And like I said, just basically what I like to do and how I kind of keep myself sane and keep the peace in my life, so that I can kind of be clear and have clarity while talking to you all, and know that everything that I'm speaking of comes from a right place, a righteous place, and a spiritual place. So, yeah, basically, here we are. So yeah, y'all have to excuse the birds and everything like that, but let's just get into it. So today I want to talk about stripping women of their rights. And this is, of course, is going back to Roe versus Wade. It takes me, like I said, some time to speak on things, so I may be a month late, I may be 2 months late on getting messages out to y'all, because like I just mentioned, I want to make sure that everything I speak of is not coming from my flesh, lean not into my own understanding, but in all things acknowledge the Lord and he will direct your path. That's what I wholly believe. So even with this, even with my podcast, even with me getting on here at any given moment to speak with you all, I have to make sure that my thoughts are clear, that my thoughts are righteous, that they're coming from God, and that I know that it's not me speaking, and is that not my flesh or my ego speaking. As a human, I want to make sure that it's not me as a human speaking, but make sure that God is seen in all things and in all messages whenever I have a moment to get on here to share things with you all. And I'm going to be looking around because I am still in a public place, so I want to be careful of my surroundings. So if y'all see me like this, it's okay. Just bear with me, y'all. We're going to get through this thing together, okay? So yeah, like I said, I'm in a field, or my line of work basically consists of talking to people all day, every day. So I had the opportunity to speak with this woman, Caucasian woman. You can tell by the sound of her voice. We talked for almost an hour, so I know my own, and I know when it's not us. So I was speaking to her, and the whole Roe versus Wade situation and the laws that were unfortunately reversed. And people, the laws that were reversed, right? And then you have people saying, well, based on my religion, I stick with the reversal of Roe versus Wade. I stick with that decision. I stick with blah, 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 A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If I had the opportunity, basically they were saying if they had the opportunity to sign off on it the same way that the Congress did on that, then they would have had their names clear as day there as well, alongside theirs. And my thing with that is, people say that they want to do it because of religious reasons. Let's keep in mind that this woman I spoke with came from a background. I'm not going to throw the religion out there. I'm going to try my best not to anyways. I'm going to try my best not to. And before I go any further, I just want to let y'all know my swelling is going down a little bit. So if I'm still talking funny, it's because I'm still experiencing some type of pain, slight pain. I'm much better than what I was when did I post on here? The day before, or 2 days ago? I think the day before. So I'm doing much better, y'all. But bear with me again, just because this is still a little swollen, just because I know my symmetrics in my face, and I know typically what it looks like and what it doesn't. So it's slightly still swollen, but it's nothing how it was the other day. So bear with me. I feel like I have a lisp. Oh my gosh. But anyways, I'm not saying anything derogatory towards those who do. I just feel like I know this is not how I talk. So y'all don't poke fun of me. Y'all shouldn't be poking fun of anyone anyways with anything medical or something that they couldn't control during their birth. So, but anyways, back to the topic, you're saying the woman that I spoke to came from a religion. She had to get out of it, her own choice. She chose to get out of it because she just realized the longer that she was in it and gravitated towards it, that it was a nuisance to her. So, and I'm saying this because it's like the people who were saying that they agree and that they stand in solitude of and for them reversing Roe versus Wade because of this same religion that I'm speaking of, that the lady told me she used to be a part of, is so baffling to me. It is mind-blowing. I don't think I will ever understand it, to be quite honest, because it's like she said, that religion was torture for her. That religion was torture for her. And you had people making you feel like the people of that congregation, not the congregation, but like people of the board of that church, of that religion. She said they almost had her feeling like those people, when they pulled them curtains back and you say your confessionals, as if they were God. Yeah. She said they almost kind of manipulated her mind as to thinking that they were God. Like, you tell us your problem. You're who we are who you come to when you need to vent, when you need to let out your frustrations, when you need to tell us what's going on in your life, when you need to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. You come to us, not God, basically, is what they were saying. What she was saying, how they made her feel. Not only that, statistically, I said that right with what's going on with my mouth, go girl. But statistically, seriously, the amount of molestations that take place, so you know what that word means, not past, not future, that take place within that religion. But you want to be in favor of reversing Roe versus Wade. Not only that, she shared with me, like I said, God has just given me this spirit where people feel comfortable and confided in me. And she shared with me how it was done to her. Not only was it done to her, but it was done to several boys in that church. And it kind of caused a division between her and her mother, and then her mother and her sister. Her sister ended up getting strung out on drugs, unfortunately, because her family was like, it's all about religion. It's all about this religion. We're going to praise this religion. We're going to worship this religion, not God, but the religion and the board that's within this church who pulled the curtains back to listen to your confessionals. So sister ended up getting strung out on drugs. She ended up leaving that religion altogether. She's formed her own separate relationship and solid relationship with Christ on her own, outside of that church. So that's basically where she stands now. And she was saying how she was fondled with and touched and molested in that church. And how her mom basically took that religion's side and made her feel like she was a liar, made her feel like she was young. She didn't know what she was talking about, like she's too ignorant and too oblivious to understand when someone is touching her inappropriately, when someone has violated her body as a woman. And so to sit up there and have people who have a voice on these social platforms, on TV stations, TV shows, one of the most popular TV show, might I add, sitting alongside some of her co-hosts, to say that, because of her religion, she's in favor of Roe versus Wade being overturned. How dare you? How dare anyone be in favor for a reason such as that? How dare you? that person, along with many others, may need to go back and do some deep research and some deep digging about their own religion, since that's their sole purpose of being in favor of stripping women's rights away, women who have been molested, women who have been raped, women who have been freaking fondled with by family members, by church members, by the people on the usher board, by people, strangers. But more often than not, it's by someone that you know, someone who you feel like you're close to, someone who you feel like people have convinced you through their actions to trust, right up under everybody else's nose. And you want to sit up here and be in favor of something like that being overturned. Keep in mind, please, that this religion that has so many people in the woo, yay spirit, the percentile for molestations that go into play in that religion alone, no other religion is included in that religion all by itself, is between 85 to 95% to this day, where children are being molested. I personally had not an experience, by the grace of God, I'm not going to say that, but I experienced a young woman. I'm 32 now. I was 22 maybe when I worked in the hotel industry, and I met this young girl, white girl. She started working there too, and it was so crazy because her and I never really got along. We had a big fallout, like in the middle of us working. I did not get along with her at all. I feel like she was very disrespectful. However, God still grants me a spirit that allows people to feel safe and confident, like with coming to me regarding certain issues. So she came to me. I noticed she was crying. I'm a person that wants to represent God always, at all times. So when I saw her crying, I asked her, well, what's going on? Are you okay? Do you want me to tell them to let you go sit down in the back for a little bit? Do you want me to go tell management that you need to go home? Like, are you okay to continue your work shift? I just want to know that you're okay. And she just let it loose and let everything out. She's like, no, I'm not okay. I just found out this certain type of person in our church who people hold him up to this high scale and put him on this pedestal. Basically, one of the people that pulled the curtains to listen to you confess resigned from being that type of person in the church. He left, he disappeared, nobody know where he went. He's all I've known since I was a little girl. My fiance and we talk to him all the time. He's the one who's guided us all up until this point. The reason why he resigned apparently is because they found out, this is what she's continuously telling, so still listen to it as if it's her telling me. She's like, the reason why apparently that he left is because it was discovered that he was molesting children within the church, specifically young boys. But so religious people, you hold your religion so high and mighty above God, might I add, that this is why you are in favor of women being stripped away from their rights. You have got to be kidding me. I know you're kidding me. Don't be so religious that you become stupid. Don't be so religious that you become ignorant. Don't be so religious that you become oblivious to who Christ is, what Christ wants, what Christ represents, because you have now put your religion on top of Christ. You have now put the world of your religious world on top of the word of Christ. Y'all got this thing backwards, some of you. And every person is entitled to their own opinion. I'm all for that. I'm aware that we live in America. If anything, as a black woman, I'm aware that we live in America. So having an opinion, that's fine and dandy. But having an opinion based solely off of religion and not personal. I'm not saying that you have to, like, yes, I understand some people are like that because of their religion. I get it. But to put your religion on a pedestal such as that, to only say that it's not coming from a personal standpoint, it's not coming from how I feel as a woman, because as a woman, I really feel like Roe versus Wade shouldn't be overturned. As a woman, I really feel like this is why this should not be overturned. As a person, as a being, as a spiritual being, this is why I feel like it should not be overturned. But to sit up there and say, oh, my religion, and the men that pull the curtains behind to listen to my confessions, that is why I ultimately do not agree with Roe versus Wade not being overturned. That's an issue. That's a personal issue, as a matter of fact, is what it seems like. People have put religion, like I said, so heavily above Christ that is almost sickening. It's disgusting. They've put the world over Christ, which is distasteful. They've put the world over the word, which is distasteful, because not once in the Bible does it say if you get molested, you cannot have an abortion. Thou shalt not kill. But to what extent? Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not, the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not, but to what degree? Do you think God would be truly upset if someone sit up here, if a man raped and molested a freaking child? You think God will hold that over that child's head to say, hey, you were molested at 12 years old. Don't have an abortion. Don't do this. It's okay to have that baby and to carry that baby. You think God will sit up here and say, I'm going to punish you. I'm going to show you who I am because you were molested and you decided not to have a child from the person that molested and raped you and violated you in your body as a woman, as a child, as a female, as a child. Even people who are up in age, people in their 20s and their 30s, that has happened to them. And I just do not feel like the God that I serve is that type of God. And I wish people would stop making that seem as so. Because it's not. That's not the God that I serve. That's not what God is about. That's not who he is. That's not what he does. He doesn't sit out and plan out how to punish someone for something they had no control over. None whatsoever. You think he would put... Children are like the apple of God's eyes. We all are. Everyone who believes in him, who trusts in him, who leans onto him, who really is obedient towards him and his word. He loves us all the same. But children have a special place. Point blank, period. Children will always have a more special place than adults. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. He loved, like I said, it's not saying that he doesn't love us as adults, y'all. So just calm down. He loves us. But you all know children are the apple of his eye. So to sit up here and feel like, oh, this, you're basically, that's what they're saying to me. I don't care who gets RAPED. I don't care who gets molested. I don't care who gets violated as a woman. Because I sit so high on the throne that I don't have to worry about those issues. And my children don't have to worry about that. And I know that they're protected. They're safe in the school that they go to. And who's to actually say that they are? That is my question. Just because you are who you are, just because that you're in favor of this Roe versus Wade, just because those who sit on social media platforms or TV shows and talk about how they're in favor of, just because of your name and just because you're making that statement, how do you know that someone isn't going to want to make an example out of your child? How? Please enlighten me on how you know on an everyday basis that when your child goes out and in from home, in and out of home, that no one... How are you going to say 100%, you're 1,000% sure that no one can touch your child? One thing about every human is we're untouchable. That's one thing. That's one thing for certain, two things for sure. We are all touchable. So I really hope and I rebuke anything from happening to anyone's child. I rebuke anything from happening to any woman. I rebuke anything from happening to any man, to any boy, because so many, what doesn't matter the gender, no one is exempt from anything, obviously. I mean, they were funneling little kids in the church, and this religion, this almighty religion, still doing it. It hasn't stopped. Will it ever stop? I doubt it, unfortunately, because we live in the world. So some people live in flesh. Preach a good word, but live in flesh entirely. See the movie Hunk for Jesus. On top of many others that let you know that people are still human when you take away that pastor title, when you take away that, when they get off that stage and go home, they're still human. We don't know what their activities are on a day-to-day basis, after work, before work. Who knows? We do not know. Everyone is human. No one is exempt. Everyone experiences certain things in their lives, certain hardships. Unfortunately, some women, some young girls, men, young boys experience certain things that others have never experienced. And for that reason alone, that's why we should not say who is right, like who deserves, for that reason alone, we shouldn't be saying, oh, this is the right thing to do for Roe versus Wade, overturning it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah, you are. Actually, you are. I'll answer that for you. I'll answer my own question. Because you are. That people are really kidding me. How dare humans have the nerve to make life decisions for others? Life-altering decisions for others. There's a woman now who was on the news probably like a month ago, and she was saying how she was forced to keep a baby who the doctors had already turned basically dead, saying that he was going to be brain dead. I'm not sure if it was a he or she, but she was just saying that the baby was already deemed or turned to be brain dead once he or she was born. And they forced her to keep that child in her. She had to go find a doctor in another state who was still licensed to do abortions. And I think she was already, I don't want to get the weeks wrong, but she was already pretty far along. She was already pretty far along. A black woman, of course. What's new? But this is crazy because I'm pretty sure they would have made exceptions for others, but we're not going to even get too deep into that because, again, I want to make sure that I'm speaking from a Christ standpoint and not from my own flesh, not from my own understanding and how I view things and how I see things personally. So, that's pretty much what I have to say about Roe versus Wade and people who are so religious that they put religion above what's right versus what's wrong. Put religion over what makes sense and what doesn't. Put religion over what's suitable for women who have no control of the situation that they're in to have abortions and to not have abortions. Who put religion over them being a woman. Not knowing what scenario that they, or what position they can ever be placed in where they may need something like that done. Have to have something like that done. Who put themselves and their own opinions, and who put religion so high up there that they can't see what God would truly prefer and what God would truly want in situations like this. But we all have to live with our own words. We all have to eat what we say. We all have to live with our own decisions. Be that they're decisions of our own choice and our own free will. But yeah, do I agree that people who are just out here sleeping around, you know, just to keep it real, do I agree with people sleeping around with multiple men and then getting pregnant by one of them? Do I feel like they should be the ones to be able to go and just have abortions as many times as they want? Absolutely not. Because at that point, that's a personal choice. You shouldn't be doing it anyway. But at that point, you're making a continuous dumb decision to do what you're doing. So you know what you're putting yourself into. You know the type of predicament that you're putting yourself into at that point. That you have to have common sense to know that, okay, enough of this is enough. Like, I'm doing this. I am doing this to myself. So no, I don't agree and even that, I have no right to say what should and should not be done. I have no right to say that, but I am saying it because that needs to be said as well. Realistically, people like women or females who do things like that, no. Absolutely not. People who are promiscuous just for their own selfish reasons, their own selfish gain, absolutely not. But who's to say that that's the reason why they're coming and that's the reason why they're leaving those clinics when they were able to, when abortions were legal? We don't know. We don't know. That's why I said it's not even that's not even something that's wholesome or whatever for me to necessarily say, because who knows? I don't know. That could be the case. It could not be. But the people who are doing that know who they are, or who were doing that know who they are. And for those people, no. I feel like, yeah, that's an issue. But for people who just have no control over their situation, their circumstance, and have been tampered with and violated by family members, church members, whoever the case may be, aunts, uncles, whether it's a male or a female. In this particular case, I'm speaking on females. So in that case, no. Who is anybody to sit there and say, because of my religion, this should be this? A religion that's, once again, high up there in the percentages of molesting young men, molesting women, putting the curtain pullers, making them as if they're God. Who are y'all to make choices for others? Who are y'all? Who made y'all so much more better than for y'all to sit up there and say, oh, I'm happy, I'm proud that this is in place because of my religion? All right. Well, as for me, I almost said something from my flesh. All right, y'all. Until next time. Bye. Love y'all.